Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is another in my series of Algebra 2 videos. We're working our way through Unit 6. We are just about approaching the end of it, so some final topics that we're going to talk about here. First of all, we've been working with rational equations, so we want to be able to get to the point where we can actually solve them. Solving rational equations and creating rational equations and using them to solve some problems. For example, down here, we get a rational equation. We get a common denominator. Once we get a common denominator, we work it out, get two possible answers for it. Maybe that solves a question that we have. We'll see. We'll work on that next time. For right now, we're going to look at the two possible methods for solving rational equations like this. One method we are going to use is called the lowest common denominator method. In that method, you multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator. Well, we can find that lowest common denominator, least common denominator, very easily. We've done that a few thousand times. And the other way is to do cross multiplication method. I'm going to do that, both of them, on the first one so that you'll see how it's done, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay? Well, let's look at this one. First one we're going to look at is the lowest common denominator method. So what I'm going to do is my lowest common denominator of those two expressions are x minus 6 and x. That's my lowest common denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it through. I'm going to say 15 over x minus 6 is going to be, well, that's going to be 15x. I can see that one. Okay? And then x minus 6 times x times 5 divided by x. Well, those two cancel each other out, and I'll get 5x minus 30. And those are equal to each other. Well, see? They're equal to each other. So if I subtract 5x from this side and 5x from this side, I get 10x equals negative 30. Divide by 10. These are all algebra manipulations we're doing here. X is equal to negative 3. Yoo-hoo! Well, I'm going to stick that negative 3 back in for the x just to show you it works. 15 divided by negative 3 minus 6 is a negative 9. Is equal to 5 divided by negative 3. Well, 15 divided by negative 9, there's a 3 in both of those. That is a 5 over negative 3 is equal to 5 over negative 3. And yoo-hoo, it checks. Cool. Okay, so let's do the other one. Cross multiplying. Okay? So if I'm going to cross multiply these, I'm going to take 15 divided by x minus 6 is equal to 5 times over x. I'm going to multiply these two together, and I'm going to multiply these two together. Well, if I multiply 15 times x, I get 15x. I multiply 5 times x minus 6, I'm going to get 5x minus 30. Hey, wait a second. Isn't that the same equation? I get the same equation both ways. It depends upon which way you like doing it. If you like doing it one way or the other, use that method. But you get to this same spot, and then it's just a matter of doing the same type of solutions for it. Okay, that seems relatively straightforward. I think we can handle that. Now, want to make certain you remember a certain rule. This rule right here. This one says that if we get something, we have to factor it, and it's equal to 0. We factor something equal to 0. Well, what are we getting? We're getting one of them is equal to 0, or we're getting the other one equal to 0. Once we deal that, we can say that this is x equals 4, and this one's x equals negative 1. That's the way we're going to be solving several sets of problems here. So I want to make certain you know that zero property rule. So let's look at some of these. Okay? First one here. Oh my goodness. I got to get common denominators for these things. Easy. We're going to factor this first one here. It's going to factor into x plus 3, x plus 2. Look at that. It's even the same thing as what we've got there. That's nice. Okay? So what are we going to do? We're going to have 3 over, thank you, x plus 3 times x plus 2. And I'm going to be adding to that x minus 1, x minus 1, parenthesis, thank you. And since that was over x plus 2, it needed to be multiplied times the x plus 3. And that's going to be equal to 7 over, and that was x plus 3, so it needs the x plus 2 added on to, or not multiplied onto that, x plus 2. So I'll multiply this up here by x plus 2 as well. See, that's 1. See how that's 1? Right there? That's just 1. All I did was multiply by 1. It didn't change the value, did I? So over here I've got 3 plus x squared plus 2x minus 3 divided by x plus 3, x plus 2 is equal to 7x plus 14 divided by x plus 3, x plus 2. You know what? Since I've got common denominators in both locations here, this one would be really easy to multiply by the common denominator, because what I'll get is just the numerator equal to the numerator. And if you notice here, 3 minus 3, those disappear. I'm left with an x squared plus 2x equals 7x plus 14. Well, I can then subtract 7x from both sides, and I get x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. I'm going to factor, I can tell already, equals 0. Well, what times what is 14? 2 times 7. Okay, well, 7 and a 2. And I know I'm going to have an x and an x, right? Well, it's a negative 14 and a negative 5. That means the negative 7 needs to be the bigger one and the 2 needs to be the smaller one. What does that do? That gives me a negative 14, and I add them together gives me a negative 5. I think that's what my factors are. So that means x equals negative 2, x equals 7, and there are my two solutions, x equals 7 and x equals negative 2. So we want to put them into check. I'm going to check with green so you can tell it apart over here. Okay? So if I stick a negative 2 in for my values, I've got 3 divided by negative 2 squared is a 4. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Plus 6. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. That's 0. I can't do that. Can I? I get a 0 here too. That won't work. Right. Scratch that one. Okay. Let's stick a 7 in there, see what we get. Okay. 7 squared, 49. This is 3 over. 49 plus 7 times 5 is 35 plus 6. Wow, that's a big number. That's here. 9 and 6 are 15. That's 20. So that's 3 over 0. Carry your 2. 6, 7, 8, 90. 3 over 90. Plus, okay, 7 minus 1 is a 6. And 7 plus 2 is a 9. Well, I can make that multiplying by 10, get 60 over 90. That gives me a nice 63 over 90. And that's all going to be equal to 7 over, let's see here, 7 plus 3 is 10. So, well, you know what? 63 divided by 90, well, that's equal to 7 over 10. And that's equal to 7 over 10. Check. That's good. Let's see what went wrong with my 2 here. Did I get something wrong here? Nope, that's right. Guess what? That tells me that this wasn't really a solution. Okay? So if that's not really a solution, we got to be careful with it, don't we? right? We need to make certain we're checking those things, because if we don't check them, we could get wrong answers. So here's another one. Okay, I did this one a while ago and I think I got it right, so let's make certain we do it this time. So I've got 10 over n is equal to n plus 9 over n minus 4 minus 3 times n minus 4 over n minus 4. See how I got a common denominator there? Okay, that's all I was doing. Okay, so 10 over n is equal to n plus 9 minus 3n plus 12 divided by n minus 4. Combining the terms, I get 10 over n equals negative 2n plus 21 over n minus 4. I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to get 10n minus 40 is equal to negative 2n squared plus 21n. Okay, well, I'm going to actually add the 2n squared to both sides. 2n squared. And subtract the 21 minus 11n minus 40 equals 0. Okay, so I'm looking for some number that when multiplied together gives me an 80, negative 80, that when added together gives me a negative 11. Well, let's see here. 8 times 10, negative 8 times 10 gives me a 2. That's not quite what I need to have. Need a little bit more than that. So let's see here. Let's reduce the 10 and increase the 8. So let's make this negative 16 times 5. Negative 16 times 5 is 80, right? 50 and 30 is 80, yeah? And negative 16 plus 5 is a negative 11. Yes, that worked, okay? So I'm going to be able to factor this. 2n squared minus 16n plus 5n minus 40. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to group the first two together, group the second two together. I'm going to see in the first two I've got a common denominator of 2n, and I've got an n minus 8 plus. In the second group I've got a common of 5. That's got an n minus 8. Ta-da! Common n minus 8, so I factor that out. N minus 8 times 2n plus 5. And those are my two factors. So that's equal to 0. So that means that n equals 8 or n equals minus 5 over 2. Wow, minus 5 over 2 is going to be hard to check, but we can do the n over 8 easy. Okay, so we got 10 over 8. Well, I reduce that one. 5 over 4, okay, is equal to 8 plus 9 is 17 over 8 minus 4 is 4 minus, well, that's 12 over 4. You know what? That's 5 over 4. And that's equal to 5 over 4. Check. One done. Okay, negative 5 over 2. Much harder to do. So that's 10 divided by negative 5 over 2. Well, we've already learned we got to invert and multiply. So that's a 20 over 5 negative. That's a negative 4. Okay, that's one side. So let's see here. Negative 5 over 2 plus 9. Well, that's 18 over 2. And negative 5 plus 18 gives me a 13 over 2. Okay, I can do that. And then I've got 5 over 2 negative minus, well, 4. That'd be 8 over 2. That's a negative 13 over 2. Wait a second. 13 over 2 divided by negative 13 over 2. That's nothing more than negative 1. Negative 1 minus 3, that's negative 4. Negative 4 is equal to negative 4. Check. Both answers checked. Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. Let's go forward. Okay, solve and check. 10 over a plus 3 equals negative 2 over 5a. You don't see anything in the way here, so I'm just going to cross multiply here, and I get 50a is equal to negative 2a minus 6. I'm going to add the 2a to both sides, and I get 52a equals negative 6. Divide by 52, and I get a is equal to negative 6 over 52, which reduces. A is equal to negative 3 over 26. Okay. Well, if that's what my A is equal to, I need to do some checking over here. So I got, oops, switch to green to check. Okay. 10 over negative 3 over 26. Invert and multiply. That's 260 divided by negative 3. It doesn't divide evenly, so I'm going to leave it like that. So I got a negative 2 divided by 5 times negative 3 over 26. That's negative 2 divided by negative 15 over 26. Invert and multiply. The negative signs are going to cancel each other out, and I get 52 over 15 equals, nope, they don't equal. What did I do wrong here? Oh, plus 3. You guys didn't even stop me. Okay? 3 times 26 is 60, 72. Oh, 78. Okay. Questioning my own math. All right, 26 times 3 is 78. Yes, thank you. Okay, so I'm over here. 10 divided by negative 3 over 26 plus 78 over 26. Got to make certain I do the math right here. Okay, 10 over 75 over 26. That's equal to 260 over 75. And I've got 52 over 15 on this other side. Let's see here. If I multiply this times 5, 50, 75, I can multiply this one times 5, 52 times 5. 5 times 5 is 250 times, that's 260 over 75. You know what? They check. I thought it did. I thought I knew the right answer. So there is my final answer in green. Okay? Okay, one final problem here. We've got w plus 3 over w and w minus 7 over 8 minus 1. So I need to take care of this side of the equation first. Okay? See how I got this minus 1 here? I'm actually going to do w minus 7 over 8 minus 8 over 8. That's 1, isn't it? Well, 7 minus 8 is 15. That's going to give me a w minus 15 over 8. And that's equal to w plus 3 over w. Cross multiply. That's going to give me an 8w plus 24 is equal to w squared minus 15w. I can subtract the 8w, subtract the 24, and I'll get 0 is equal to w squared minus 7w minus 24. my factors of 24, okay, because I'm looking for what multiplies to give me 24, right? Multiplies to give me 24, but adds to give me a negative 7, negative 24. Well, let's see here. 6 times 4, 6 and 4, those add to 10. That's not going to give it to me, right? How about 12 and 2? 12 and 2 would add to 10. That's not going to give it to me. 8 and 3, right? 8 times 3. Well, the best I can get out of that is 5. I don't think that's going to give it to me. 8, 9, 10, 11. That won't give me a negative 7 at all. Okay. Well, there's 6 and 4. Well, that's going to give me at best a 10 or a 2. That's not going to do it. And a 12 and 2. That's going to give me a 10. And you know what? I don't think I can factor that one. Okay, pause. When you hear me doing pause, I'm stopping the recording while I hit my calculator and make certain I know the answer. And it's always nice to pause it so that you can check your work while you're doing it, and that way I don't look like a fool in front of you guys. And what I noticed is that when I subtracted the 8x over here from 15, I got 7. It's supposed to be 23. Please, Mr. Green, wake up. Okay? So they're multiplying to give you negative 24, but adding to give you a negative 23. You know what? There's only one answer that'll give you that one. It's a negative 24 and a 1. So I'm going to write this out. 0 equals w squared plus w minus 24w minus 24. Grouping these last two together. Grouping the first two together. And I get a w times w plus 1. And over here, if I factor out a negative 1, it's minus a negative 1 times negative 24. Excuse me. Factor out a negative 24, I get a w plus 1. So my factors are w plus 1 and w plus 24. Is it plus 24 or minus 24? Hang on a second. Calculator will be there in a second. Nope, it's not minus 24. It must be plus 24. So let me get there real quickly. It is plus 24. Okay. So that's supposed to be a negative sign. Okay. So I've got w minus 24 and w plus 1. So my w can be equal to negative 1 or 24. Those are the two values. Okay? Yeah. So if I substitute those values in, checking my work here, if it's w equals negative 1, negative 1 plus 3 is a 2, divided by negative 1 is equal to negative 1 minus 7 is a negative 8 over 8 minus 1. That's a negative 2 is equal to negative 1 minus 1. Check. Okay? Let's stick the 24 in there. So 24 plus 3 is 27 over 24. That reduces. That's equal to 9 over 8. And that's equal to 24 minus 7 is 14. 17 over 8 minus 8 over 8. And that's equal to 9 over 8. It's equal to 9 over 8. Check. Our two answers are the same, so those are my answers. W equals negative 1 and W equals a 24. Okay. Just like in any other situation, Toga is available if you have any questions you want to get answered. I will be lecturing over some of this stuff and going over some more problems in Class Connect time on Tuesday. Please make certain you come to both. That way we can get some things straightened out, make certain you understand everything that's going on. I'll look forward to seeing you next time we're together. Bye.